And I think that both love marriage and arranged marriage are both very interesting, both have their strengths and weaknesses, are both something that should be respected. But I also want to say that it's something people really should be knowledgeable about, and many people in America don't even think about it. So that concludes my presentation, and thank you.
Thank you, Sophie. We have some time for questions.
What is one very positive aspect of arranged marriage, in your opinion?
Your whole family's into it, and you know that the whole family isn't kind of like, well, we're just gonna find somebody and do it. It's more of a, they really look into these individuals. They really look into their families. So I think that that's a really important and very interesting thing. Like, I couldn't imagine that really happening to someone like me, really. Like, I couldn't quite wrap my mind around that for myself, but I think it would be interesting if your aunts and your uncles and your parents and your grandparents and everyone was like, well, we want to find the best person for you. Let us try to help you. I think that that within itself is a strength. You have your whole family behind you from the beginning. You don't have to gain their approval later and say, hey, you know, I brought this person home. You like him? You like her? It's like, no, you just cut past that. It's like, oh, well, we like this guy. What do you think of him? We like this girl. What's your opinion? Do you want? You don't want? Okay, on to the next biodata. What about this one? So I think that is a cool strength.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
This is a question for each of you. What was your most surprising finding?
I think just I don't know. I think I just viewed. I had a very close view of what Indian women were like, and just seeing them. That was the most surprising thing. I don't know.
Samantha, before you answer, I have sort of a follow-up question. You said at one point that people kept saying all Indian women are alike, and it seemed like one of your findings was no. But I'm curious, who would say that, and in what contexts would elicit it? What would make?
Well, it was one of the translators, not the translators of these women, but it was just after an interview, and I guess she just believed that all women had the same goals, just to be good wives.
And for the most surprising thing, I wouldn't say surprised, but I thought that it was really wonderful how open people were. And I know that that can be a very huge barrier in anthropology, kind of like finding people to interview, finding people to kind of do that informant role. But over there, it was way more surprisingly easy for me. But then again, I also had certain advantages, like taking 2 semesters of Hindi before I went. So things like that definitely play into it. When I was speaking with a lot of the people, I had to use a combination of English, Hindi, and Gujarati, like for pretty much every sentence. So that was really nice, but in terms of the surprise factor, it would be that if I got super excited about something, like if I wanted to tell you a story or something like that, I would know the grammar in my mind for Hindi. But when it came out, it just came out so badly. Like sentence structure was atrocious, and people knew that, but they were still appreciative of, oh, well, she's trying, and she's trying to improve, and like, that's really awesome. So people would kind of laugh a little bit, but they would also still understand my story, even though it was told just really badly, I guess, grammatically.
What did you two love the most?
I guess, well, for my project, I think it was really, I loved that I had connections through people to people in the actual communities, and I think that really, I don't know, I wouldn't have been able to interview these women without that.
What I love the most are the people. They were so much fun while being so insightful. So I'm not gonna lie, like I didn't hang out with the students almost ever. Like I did some, but like Bappa could vouch, Lydia could vouch. Like it would be one of those things where it's like, okay, well, all the students have to eat, and I'd be like, okay, let's go, and then I would just eat, and then I would disappear.
It was like, where's Sam?
Yeah.
She's with the staff.
And then that would happen all the time. And I remember Bappa coming up to me one day and passing in the hallway, and he was just like, you know, like why don't you like hang out with all the students? Like, why don't you hang out with like all the white people and stuff? And I kind of laughed and paused for a moment, and Bappa was like, oh, well, I see. Well, those students, I guess, aren't really your clan. The clan are the people that you met here. And I agreed with him in a way. It's like, yes, like those people also became a part of me, I became a part of them, and we did kind of form, for lack of a better term, like clan, in that I spent as much time with them as I possibly could, and they learned just as much from me as I did from them. So that was my favorite part.
Question for the both of you, ladies. What is the most difficult aspect of being an anthropologist?
Yes. I guess being honest with what your difficulties are when you're with your subject.
Let's see, the most difficult word. I feel like you always have to be on your A game, especially for that amount of time. That was only a month. A month is nothing. It's nothing for an anthropologist. People will spend years in a place. But if you go to some place and you're there only for a month, you really have to hit the ground running if you want to make any kind of impact for yourself and for your research. So before I went, I knew that a month wasn't going to be enough, not nearly enough. So for me, I mean, I wrote up my questions. I had a good friend of mine translate them into Gujarati before I went. So time management is one rough thing for an anthropologist. And another one would just be, even if you're having the worst day, you still go out and you do it. Like, you're still gonna be going out there and giving those talks and doing those interviews and everything like that. Like, you still need to really work.
Why is anthropology important to everyday Americans, everyday Indians, and other people around the world? Why does it matter?
Because anthropologists can show you what you take for granted by, researching different groups of people that you don't hear about all the time.
For me, anthropology is so important because, first of all, in America, we have just about everyone here. We have pretty much every type of group of people, at least a lot of them if you think about it. And so anthropology could not only make it so that you learn more about another country, you learn more about another population in a totally different place, but it's also something that you can apply to this very country. So when an anthropologist does research, it's not just, oh, I went to this place in Africa, and this is what I learned, and those are fun facts. It's more like you gain insight into that society, but you can also take a lot of different elements back from that to learn about people that you're around, or people that you may meet, and you don't know you're going to meet one day. So I think that anthropology is a means to unify places like America, and to really unify other countries in terms of the spread of knowledge, and that's what I appreciate.
I actually have a couple of questions. Lydia, did any of the women you spoke with talk about the self-mutilation, either their own experience with it or their feelings about it within the culture?
Self-mutilation?
You talked about self-mutilation.
Oh no,
as one of the-
self-immolation.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, I'll ask you a different question. I'm wondering, this might actually be a question you can both address in relation to the ability to work after a woman is widowed. Samantha, you mentioned that there are different opinions about what husbands are looking for in terms of their wives' educations and what parents want their children, how parents want women to be educated. I'm wondering if that's changing at all, you know, as women face these issues of widowhood and trying to afford their lives beyond their husbands.
Well, Jayabin mentioned in one of the interviews that she had to do labor work because she had like a 6th grade education, I think. So I think that's why she had a hard time making money to support her and her children.
Okay.
And what else is it changing?
Just if, and that might be a question you can both answer. Are more women trying to become educated so that they can support themselves if they need to do so?
Yeah. I mean, for Jayabin, I think her daughters weren't able to go on with their education, but her sons were. So I think there is still an inequality with that.
I would say that there were friends of mine over there who did work, and there were friends of mine over there who were more of the home caretaker. But in America, it seems like a lot of people do expect their daughters and everything to get an education just like their sons. And there are also, like, you can't really make a generalization, because there definitely are a ton of people in India who, whether they have a daughter or a son, they still want them to get the education. But it kind of is something that'll vary when you cross certain lines, like a village line compared to a city line. And also depending on how big is the city, it's just, things range so much over there that it's pretty much based on where you were brought up and the opinion of your family in general.
Okay, one final question, and this might be based on the perception of divorce, so it might be difficult to tell, but how were you able to gauge how successful the arranged marriages are long term?
I would say that a lot of the people did stay together. There are so many people that wouldn't think about leaving their husband or wife, since it is something that's taken very seriously, as it is over here with our version of love marriage. That's what they call it there. But also, it does happen some, but it's very stigmatized if you get a divorce. Yeah, and it's very hard to kind of find someone to marry, and they kind of have, it has to kind of be a situation where it's like, okay, you got divorced and you meet someone else who got a divorce too, or something of that nature. So it's more difficult for people, but it's done.
What if we define success as happiness and not divorce?
Divorce rate. That's our next research project.
From different things that I've seen, I mean, one major thing is adapting to the other person. So, in terms of how we would view it, over there, you're not expected to necessarily love the person you're matched with right away. And it's kind of viewed as one of those things where if that is the case, then eventually you'll get to know the person more. Both of you will kind of see how each other is more, adapt to that a little more. And then many of these people do wind up falling in love, and it is a genuine love from what I saw expressed in the eyes of the people that I was even talking to. So I think that's just fascinating.
Thank you. Well, thank you both, Lydia and Samantha. Glad I was able to make you all laugh.